Winning cures everything. Now for your hosts, Gary and Chris.
All right, so story number one, let's jump in. Paul Finebaum versus ESPN. The story got several mentions last week. Finebaum of the SEC Network, his contract is up, I believe, at the end of July. It may be August. ESPN has not renewed the contract as of yet, and he is threatening to walk. He stated he will not be at SEC Media Days starting July 16th if ESPN does not finish up his contract. Now, Clay Travis at Outkick.com has reported the most information on this, stating basically it's just another point in the ever-growing list of problems the SEC has had with ESPN since they started the SEC Network. Apparently, former ESPN president John Skipper told former SEC Commissioner Mike Slive, rest in peace, that ESPN would never partner with another conference to do a network, but a couple of years after that, they went and announced the ACC network. The SEC told ESPN to get the Finebaum contract done. One of the issues that Outkick did not report on is something that SECcountry.com brought up in one of their last pieces. Their final day of publishing content was June 30th, by the way. So RIP to the SEC Country.
SEC Country, that's right.
Andrew Asselford, I'm hoping I say that right, reported that a source close to the popular college football commentator said a possible relocation to the College Football Hall of Fame in Atlanta for the analyst show, quote, could be a major renegotiation sticking point. So Finebaum and ESPN's college football universe descended upon Atlanta for the CFP national championship game between Alabama and Georgia, and Finebaum's show was actually broadcast from the College Football Hall of Fame on January 5th. The source close to Finebaum said, basically, he's on an island in Charlotte. It's pro country, NASCAR country, and ACC country. No ability to cultivate his sources. It makes a lot of sense to go to Atlanta. A lot of the advertisers in Atlanta want it. The city leaders want it. The Hall of Fame wants it. It just makes a lot of sense, and I know the Hall of Fame already has the technology and the wiring in place. Amanda Brooks, an ESPN spokeswoman based in Charlotte, wrote an email to SEC Country that the network has no interest in relocating the Paul Finebaum show to Atlanta. It's a baseless rumor, Brooks wrote, and we have no intention of moving the show. However, the source close to Finebaum said the show moving to the College Football Hall of Fame would be beneficial to the host and his current employer. It adds value all the way around, the source said. I can see it really not only giving the SEC network a lift, but ESPN's overall investment in college football a lift. And if they don't want to do it, I know there's a lot of social media companies that are eager to talk to Paul about his market value. Certainly he's going to have some other options. Now, to me, Finebaum provides all kinds of content to the SEC network, right?
Agree.
He's basically the face of the channel. He's the voice of the SEC. He's a co-host on SEC Nation every Saturday morning in the fall. He hosts a 4-hour radio show every day that's simulcast on the network. He more often than not in the offseason, he does a full hour on ESPN2 before his own show starts. He's a frequent guest on all the other ESPN programming. Like, you name an ESPN radio program, he's on it all the time. He's on Sports Center. He's on Outside the Lines. Like, you name it, he's there. The other side of this is he is one of the few non-left wingers on the entire network, right? Like, and we don't necessarily know that he's left wing or not. He just doesn't talk about it. That doesn't. You don't watch a whole lot of Finebaum. But what is your take on the situation? Should ESPN be willing to let him walk to another platform with the SEC telling them to get it done?
First things first is I don't think his politics have anything to do with this. I think that's completely irrelevant to the story. Should it's completely irrelevant to the story. Gary,
I'm with you. I'm saying that it
just
works,
completely irrelevant.
He helps out a demographic that
but
is
ESPN,
not happy with ESPN.
But
right?
ESPN obviously wants that demographic, or they wouldn't have the SEC network to begin with. Okay?
That's what I'm saying.
They bring money in. So, but now they have the SEC network. They have that demographic.
Right, that you never see talk about whatever. I don't know that that's going to have anything to... Okay, you're right.
Politics aside, it's
move that out of the way
to the story.
Forget politics, whatever.
Now, do I think this could hurt the SEC, or not the SEC, ESPN, the SEC network? Probably it'll drop a little bit. There are probably some hardcore Finebaum fans that'll follow him where he goes. I think Finebaum will be fine anywhere he goes, whatever he chooses to do. I'd like to see that show based out of Atlanta, based out of the Hall of Fame. I'd like for him to make it a live show to where, maybe not live necessarily, but opened up to the public to where people could actually come watch his show.
Yeah, I was about to say it's live every day anyway.
But you know what I'm saying.
But yeah, open it up to the public.
With public coming in, if you're there and you want to sit in on the Finebaum show, you can.
I'd be willing to bet they would do that.
I think that would be a lot of fun, but do I think ESPN and the SEC network will be fine? Yeah. If they part ways, they will find somebody who's an SEC guy to plug in that place that will gladly take that role and do a great job with it. They've got some pretty great talent there already, other than Finebaum. Paul is unbelievable at what he does. There's nobody else as good at what he does as him. But that doesn't mean he's the only guy and he's not replaceable. If the Atlanta thing is a sticking point and ESPN wants to stick to their guns, it's their company. They have the right to do that.
Yeah.
And that would be whatever. What the SEC wants and what ESPN wants, irrelevant to ESPN. They have a deal in place, and it's extremely long. And it's extremely lucrative to the SEC as well.
15 more years.
Yeah, and all those SEC schools that might be upset about this and all the people in charge of that, guess what? You're all getting paid obscene amounts of money. So I don't know that anybody at ESPN cares what they think. They already have the deal. They already have the contract. They already have the content.
You might be right.
You're not getting out of it.
You might be right. Who would be a good replacement if they had to go that route?
I don't know, because I think they should do what they did with Paul. Not that they did this with Paul. Find a guy in the SEC that already hosts an SEC radio show on a regular basis and try to – he's probably going to be a local person that does that for a specific school, but have that person reach out and be the entire SEC's person.
I wonder if – because Peter Burns has filled in for him a lot. We've had Peter on the show. I mean, that could be – I could see that working.
I mean, he's an SEC guy. He's got the same roots. He's got the same everything. And you and I know as well as anybody else, the market for these guys is really good. But at the same time, the jobs are getting less and less.
Yeah.
Paul is big enough to where he can be fine anywhere he goes.
Yeah.
But some of these other guys, we just talked about SEC country and all that, they're losing their jobs every day.
Yeah, no, you're right.
So there's plenty of people that would want that job that are really well qualified and would do a good job.
I think that you are.
So we might get both. The SEC could be fine. ESPN and the SEC network could be fine with somebody else.
And Paul could go wherever he wants to.
Paul, and whoever Paul gets hired on by, if they don't take advantage of the college football Hall of Fame wanting him there, I just think that's a bad idea. Because anybody else that picks him up is not going to be as big as ESPN.
Yeah,
so
agreed.
They should take advantage of that marketability.
I'm with you. I'm with you. Let's move on. Story number 2.